Good morning, Petunia Preschool. How are you doing? It is Tuesday. I just rolled out of bed. Can you tell? I have some major bed face going. I had to get up, and I was just drinking my morning cup of coffee, and the Tyler. Remember I told you about the two Tylers? Who was the other Tyler? Tyler the plumber and Tyler. I can't remember. Oh yeah, Tyler the delivery person that got frustrated with me. So the Tyler that is not frustrated with me, the plumber, called early this morning as I was just making a cup of coffee, and he was ready to be let into the preschool so he can fix those rusty pipes at the preschool so that when we come back we don't have a sprinkler and a swimming pool in the basement. So I just rushed over there, but now I'm back. And I said, let's just do a video. I don't even need to wash my face this morning. Let's just hop to it. Get to it, right? Right, Dee?
Sure.
Yesterday was Monday, and I did not do a video because I had to take my dog Cringer to the vet. And he had to go to a specialist because he's resting over there. He, about 2 years ago, he got this...
Guess the color.
Fungus in his nose. You can show that in a little bit, honey. Do you want to go make a bowl of cereal and then...
Well, will you help me?
What do you need help with?
Making the bowl of cereal.
So,
Ever since I made that huge bowl of cereal.
Okay, well, give me a minute.
I don't want to make another one.
A few years ago, it's been over 2 years, he got this fungus in his nose, and it took us a long time to figure out what it was. He went to lots of vets, and what was happening was that it started out that he was getting a really, really runny nose, like big time runny nose, not normal, leaving puddles. He was
literally leaving puddles.
Yeah, it was sad.
Snot.
It's not even that anyway. And so he went to his regular vet, and they flushed out his nose and took cultures and stuff, and they were like, it's not a fungus, and they didn't know what it was. And so it started to get really bad where his nose was actually looked like a big owie, and it was bleeding, and he was really sick, and he did not want to eat, and he didn't want to go for his runs, and so they sent me to a specialist. This was one weekend. It was right before Thanksgiving.
And we called him Mr. Worst Case Scenario.
Well, that doctor, yeah. It was right before Thanksgiving a couple years ago, and I thought he was going to pass away. I didn't think he was going to make it, and I called this specialist, and I got into the specialist, and I met this wonderful vet. Her name is Dr. Tobin, and she took one look at him and said, it's a fungus, and this weird fungus called Aspergillus. I say it wrong all the time.
Aspergillitis.
But anyway, it's really rare, and there's not a lot of treatments for it, and it is fatal. So that means that he can die from it.
He didn't. He did not.
Nope, he didn't die from it. So we ended up, at that time, he got, we tried medicine before doing like a surgery for him. And the medicine made it so he didn't feel it made his belly not feel very good, but his nose healed. It healed.
Like he didn't die?
Yes, and we were eventually able to stop giving him the medicine. And
we also met this guy that we call now Mr. Worst Case Scenario.
Yeah.
And he actually said he's either gonna die from that or get hit by a bus.
Yeah, we one time
it was not very
we were going out of town, and our friend Gabe was gonna he always stays at our house and watches all of our animals, and Cringer was just about to be out of his medicine, and I didn't want to go out of town and have no medicine for him and him need it, and me be all the way in Michigan. And so I called and I said, can you just give me more medicine? And they said, well, why don't you come in? Let's look at him, because taking the medicine too long is actually hard on their liver. And so but Dr. Tobin wasn't in, and we met this other doctor, and he was like, it's going to come back and it's going to kill your dog. But Dr. Tobin said,
die or get worse.
Yeah, he said he'll die from this or get hit by a bus, which is really, really rude thing to say. But it's been 2 years, and he's been fine ever since. And our doctor that we like, named Dr. Tobin, she had said that it wouldn't necessarily come back as long as the medicine had killed all of it. But his nose, so a doggy has, not this doggy, this isn't a doggy, but a dog has a long nose. And
why didn't you use the real dog?
Well, because Cannon's got like the squishiest face. Cannon doesn't have a very long nose. This guy has a longer nose. But dogs have long noses.
No, he can't. He has a squishy little face.
Well, that's why dogs like that actually have a lot of nose problems, because their nose isn't very long. But
he has a squishy little
the
face.
inside of a dog's nose is like curly, cavernous. It's like a maze that they breathe. And it's so that because dogs smell so much, it's so that it can catch bacteria and stuff, keep them healthy, so they're not just smelling that all that stuff. But now Cringer, that one thing that fungus did was eat away the inside of his nose, and so his nose actually kind of always stinks when he breathes. It's like bad breath always coming out of his nose, but it's like worse than bad breath.
It ate his
Snot. We love him, but it's gross.
It ate his nose, and now he licks his penis a lot.
David, excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Dogs, that's how they clean.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
You're so cool. Sit down and eat your cereal, freak. Jeez. Yeah, are you embarrassed?
Yeah. It was an accident.
Oh, goodness gracious.
This smells like honey. Smell it.
Smells good. But anyway, so yesterday I was thinking that maybe that was coming back because he's having some dryness and sneezing, whatever. But I took him back, and going to the vet now, going to that specialist was really quite different. So you guys probably haven't gone anywhere, to any stores or anything. And if you have, you might have noticed that things look different. Like you can't get close to people. You might have to wait in line to go in a place. You might have a mask. We have masks that Aunt Mandy made. And at this vet that we went to yesterday, it was great. They were, no humans went in the building. So I stayed in my car, and they, and I did all the paperwork on my phone, and they came out to get Cringer, and Cringer did not want to go. He put all his legs down, and they said, well, pretend you're walking to the door, walk to the door. And so I tricked Cringer. He thought we were both going in, and then they took him back. But they looked at him, and they said they don't think that the fungus is coming back, but that he's got like a swollen gland or something over there, and so he's gonna get put on some antibiotics because he might just have a bacterial infection, which is common when a doggy can't filter out all of his sniffing. So, and it's been really nice out, and it's been polleny, so
that might just be it. That just might be it. He got a bunch of pollen in his nose.
But David, don't let me forget to call, because they the pharmacy actually didn't get the prescription, so I need to call and make sure. But anyway, that's why I didn't do a video yesterday, because I had to get up super early in the morning and do that.
That made me cry.
And David, we have been together so much that when I wasn't home for just a little bit in the morning, I got out of the car and David came and hugged me. What are you going to do when we're someday go back to not being together all the time? I love my David. Glad you're not getting sick of me.
I'm not.
You're not? Maybe sometimes. No? And then when we got back, David was so good. He looked like me. David was so good. He was just such a great student. He had
Wait, you haven't been giving me my grades.
Oh, well, we kind of stopped.
Yeah, I really
Your
want to keep
academic grade for your work is always an A. You do really good.
A+.
Your
But
attitude grade is
it's also an
usually
A. It's like a really big A because it's
a big
attitude.
Seriously.
A
you guys,
for
I did
attitude.
something last. Was it Friday? I did something that I felt really bad about. I'm gonna admit it. I was helping David, trying to help him. He wasn't wanting to hear what I said. We were working in his math book, and I was trying to show him something.
You threw.
And I got so frustrated that I picked up his notebook or his math book
And threw
and
it
his
across
pencil sharpener, and I went, and I chucked it across our living room, and the pencil sharpener busted, and all these shavings busted everywhere. But you know what? It felt so good. I was like, I don't care. I can sweep those up. And David and I kind of looked at each other and laughed. And
No, we didn't laugh.
You didn't laugh?
Mm-mm. When did we laugh?
I think I laughed.
No, you didn't laugh. You whipped it and you said, I don't give a C word, and then you
A
left.
crap. I don't give a crap. I had to walk outside. We did laugh about it though later.
Yes, but you said, I don't give a crap.
A crap.
You're like, you fine. You know, if you're not gonna listen to me, you can do this all by yourself. I don't give a crap. Slammed your hands on the table and left. I'm not lying. That's what happened.
I did. I got really frustrated and I lost my temper. But you know what? That happens, and I cleaned up my mess, and I came back in and I said I was sorry and I shouldn't have thrown the math book. And then we finished the math work and we were done for the day, and we had the day off and we had a nice day, and we laughed about it later.
What's
but
this?
You know what? Sometimes that happens. And it was either throw the math book or try to throw David, and he's a little too heavy for me to throw right now. So I did lose my temper. I'm not proud of it.
It's not in the background.
Yeah, she lost her temper. But where was I? So yeah, we didn't make a video yesterday because we did that, and David was doing his work. And right now the plumber is at preschool, and I think that's it. I'm just old jokes, D. Old jokes. So now I'm gonna read a story, and then we're gonna start our schoolwork for the day. So how about
Smushy magic.
let's read. I got our Disney books here. How about Lady and the Tramp? Since we were talking about doggies. David, have you seen the movie Lady and the Tramp?
Magic.
Do we own it? Lady and the Tramp. This was one of my favorite
Lady
Disney
and
movies.
the Tramp.
All right,
I want the tramp. She can just be the lady, but I want her tramp, because then I could have two tramps.
Do you have another one that looks like that?
Oh, a trampoline.
Trampoline. See their long doggy noses?
No,
That's the part I'm
Cannon
cringer.
has the smushiest face. Now, look, it's
All right.
It's Michigan.
All right, D. It's time for you to listen, okay? Eat your cereal.
Mom,
Lady.
it's weird how you were singing it,
See,
Lady
sometimes I wanna throw.
and the Tramp, because it was actually Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
That's the tune. You were doing it at the tune of Beauty and the Beast, but you said Lady and the Tramp. What is wrong with you? Why do you get those things mixed up? It seems so hard to get all
What
mixed
is?
up.
Isn't it Lady in the Tramp? No.
Wait,
Wait. Oh my gosh. Who eats? He's eating cereal with his hands.
It's not Lady in the Tramp. It's Beauty and the
Well, what's the
Beast.
Lady in the Tramp song?
Lady in the Tramp.
Ow! All right.
Lady in the Tramp.
All right. All done. Lady in the Tramp.
Lady.
Okay, D. Shh. Jim Dear and his wife, Darlene, were celebrating Christmas Eve. Here, Darlene, he said, handing her a pretty box. Darlene untied the ribbon and out popped the most adorable Cocker Spaniel puppy she had ever seen. I love her, Darlene exclaimed happily.
Darlene?
She's a perfect little lady. Okay, Dee, quiet eating, okay? Don't smack your cereal.
I'm not.
When Lady was 6 months old, Darlene and Jim Dear gave her a brand new collar and name tag. How fine you look in your new collar, Lady, Darlene said. That night, as usual, Jim Dear tucked Lady into her very own basket. Lady was the princess of the household. Jim Dear and Darlene loved to pamper her. They gave her special treats from the table, and they always found time to play with her. Lady was sure that she was the luckiest dog in the whole wide world.
No, I'm not look. No, Ken.
But as spring blossomed into summer, Jim Dear and Darlene began to play with Lady less and less. Now they spent most of their time talking about someone named Baby. Who is this baby? Lady asked herself. A baby is nothing but a bundle of trouble, said a husky voice. Lady whirled around to see who was speaking. It was a scruffy-looking dog she had never seen before. Why, he wasn't even wearing a collar. Is a baby bundle of trouble? No.
Mm-hmm.
And Marty and Wally's new baby brother is named Calvin. Isn't that the cutest name? Calvin. By the way, Pidge, he said, my name is Tramp. What's yours? I'm sorry, replied Lady, but I never speak to strangers. Suit yourself, said Tramp. But mark my words, he called as he trotted away. When the baby moves in, the dog moves out. A short time later, Lady heard new sounds coming from the master bedroom. Soft cooing sounds. Come in, Lady, Darlene said gently. There's someone I'd like you to meet. So this is what a baby looks like, thought Lady, wagging her tail happily. He's not awful at all. Why, he's almost as sweet as a puppy. Oh, she likes this baby.
Wait, where is it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, it was just the crib. Soon, life in Lady's household had almost returned to normal. But one day, a stern-looking woman barged through the front door carrying a suitcase and a big basket.
Wait, so she's going to
We're going away for a few days, Darlene explained to Lady, and we're counting on you to take good care of the baby. Aunt Sarah here has come to help you. Two pairs of blue eyes stared at Lady from the basket. I wonder what she has in there, said Lady.
She has nothing.
Can you take your bowl to the sink?
Lady, no.
She soon found out the eyes belonged to Aunt Sarah's cats, Cy and Am. The two cats hopped out of the basket and made themselves at home.
Siam.
We are Siamese, if you please.
With some baby.
We are Siamese, if you don't please, they hissed. Lady got the feeling that Cy and Am didn't like her.
Wait, do it again.
And for some reason, Aunt Sarah didn't seem too friendly either. Lady watched sadly as Darlene and Jim Dear walked out the door. Oh, please don't leave me here alone, she said softly.
Wait, do it again. Sing the Siamese song.
Maybe the story. I'll sing to you later. Aunt Sarah went upstairs to check on the baby. As soon as the mischievous cats saw her leave, they began to turn the house upside down. Stop that, Lady barked angrily. She really had her paws full trying to keep the goldfish and the canary safe from harm.
It's a canary.
It's a kind of bird. Take your bowl to the sink. When Aunt Sarah saw the terrible mess, she was sure it was all Lady's fault. You naughty dog, Aunt Sarah scolded as she chased Lady from the house with a broom. Poor Lady, she had never been so insulted in all of her life. Upset, she walked out of the yard. Lady didn't pay attention to where she was going, just as long as far is just as long as it was far from Aunt Sarah as possible. Uh-oh. It wasn't long before Lady found herself on the other side of town. She was far from her home and the well-mannered dogs who were her friends. Suddenly, Lady heard the angry growls of a pack of vicious dogs. To her surprise, they began to chase her. But before they could harm Lady, Tramp showed up to save the day. Why don't you pick on somebody your own size instead of bothering the lady? Tramp shouted at the pack of dogs. Tramp fought like a tiger, and when he was through, those bullies couldn't run away fast enough. Lady thanked Tramp for rescuing her. Then she told him all about her troubles with Aunt Sarah and the wicked cats. Poor Pidge, said Tramp. How about a nice hot meal to cheer you up? He suggested. He brought Lady to the best Italian restaurant in town. What a nice surprise, cried Tony the chef, when Tramp appeared at the back door. They're eating one of Talia's favorite lunches, spaghetti. Talia, I think when we have spaghetti, you can eat and eat and eat until it's all gone. When you were really little, Talia, and you first came to Petunia, spaghetti was one of your favorite meals, but you would eat it so fast that you would kind of choke on it a little bit. And we would have to cut it up or say, slow down, take slow bites, but you liked it so much that it didn't matter that you were so little that spaghetti is kind of hard to eat. When you're younger, spaghetti can be tricky because it's so long. And if you don't chew it well, it doesn't feel good going down. But that didn't stop you. Do you still love spaghetti like that? When we go back to school, we'll have to make one of our big pots of spaghetti. Tony was so delighted to see Tramp with such a lovely lady that he brought out a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs for the two dogs to share. He even serenaded them with his accordion. This was wonderful, Lady said to herself. She gazed fondly at Tramp. He's not bad after all, even if he doesn't have a collar. After dinner, Tramp took Lady for a romantic stroll through the park. That night, the two dogs fell asleep under the full moon. Oh dear, cried Lady the next morning. I should have been home hours ago. Ah, forget about the rules for once, replied Tramp. There's a whole big world out there for us to explore. But who will watch over the baby? Asked Lady. You win, said Tramp. I'll take you home. Their walk was quite pleasant until Tramp spotted a hen house. His eyes lit up at once. Chickens, he cried. Ever chase chickens, Pidge? It's fun. Before Lady could stop him, Tramp ran into the midst of the clucking hens. Some dogs do like to chase. I think a lot of dogs probably like to chase chickens. Our neighbors, right to the side of my house, they used to always have chickens. They even had a rooster when we first moved in, and I loved the sound of the rooster. It didn't keep me awake. It didn't bother me because it did cock-a-doodle-doo early in the morning, and you're not supposed to have roosters in this part of Portland, I guess. And one of our neighbors who doesn't live here anymore, she was kind of grumpy, and she reported them, and they had to get rid of the rooster. And I was really sad because I like the sound of the rooster. And sometimes he's big now, and he goes by Tim, but when we moved in, he was littler. He was 12 years littler, and he was Timmy, and he would call over, you want some eggs? And he would hop up over the fence and hand us the freshest eggs ever. And oh my goodness, yum, yum, yum. Phoenix and Vesper, you have chickens, so you probably eat some delicious fresh eggs. Like, there's a difference between those fresh eggs and the ones you buy at the store. Let me tell you, they were delicious. But they got a dog named Barney. Barney's still alive. He still lives over there, and Barney still barks at everything. But Barney chased the chickens too much, and they had to get rid of all of their chickens. So now instead of having fresh eggs, I get barked at every time I go outside. But Barney's nice. Anyway, Barney chased chickens, and Tramp wanted to have some fun and chase the chickens. Uh-oh. It's not good. Stop, shouted Lady. I thought this guy was saying stop. He would go, stop, but stop. shouted Lady, but Tramp was having too much fun to stop until the owner of the hen house called the dog catcher. Run, Lady, run, called Tramp as he sped away. He thought Lady was right behind him, but Lady wasn't fast enough. As she rounded the corner, the dog catcher nabbed her and threw her into the wagon. Tramp had no idea what happened to her. Uh-oh, the dog catcher. Before she knew it, Lady was behind bars at the city pound. She was so ashamed. What are you in for, sweetheart? Laughed Bull, the bulldog, putting fleas on the butler. Luckily, a kind dog named Boris told Lady that she had nothing to fear. Dogs with name tags never stay here long, he explained. Sure enough, early the next morning, one of the guards came for Lady and took her home. She has a tag like David's dog here. It has a little tag. It doesn't actually have anything on it, but my dogs have tags on them that have their name and my phone number, I think our address, so that if they ever got lost and somebody found them, they could call and say, hey, found your dog. But Aunt Sarah was still upset, so she chained Lady up outside. Soon Tramp, who had been searching for Lady all night, came prancing into her yard. Pidge, he exclaimed happily, I've been so worried. Don't call me Pidge, snapped Lady. This is all your fault. I never want to see you again. Lady felt sad and lonely. She had promised Darling that she would protect the baby, but how could she do her job if she was chained up outside? Soon it was dark, and Lady tossed and turned, but she could not fall asleep. Suddenly she noticed something moving. It was a huge rat, and it was heading straight for the house. Lady watched in terror as the rat climbed onto the roof and through the baby's window. Woof, 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 cried Tramp as he came running when he heard her bark. A rat, cried Lady, in the baby's room. Tramp rushed into the house. Lady managed to break her chain and follow him.
Morning, David.
Together they ran to the baby's room. Tramp quickly pounced on the rat and they began to fight. Sorry. The plumbers are over there. Tramp and the rat rolled around on the floor, knocking over lamps and chairs. Finally, though, Tramp won. Wah, wah, wah. The baby wailed the baby, who was frightened by all the noise. Aunt Sarah was awakened by the baby's cries. Shoo, she cried. Get back, you brute! Down to the cellar with you! Aunt Sarah wasted no time in calling the dog catcher, and for the first time in his life, Tramp found himself on his way to the pound. Lady watched sadly as the wagon pulled away. Just then, Jim Deer and Darling arrived home. Uh-oh. I like Darling's hat. It's held on like by a sash. That'd be a fun hat for preschool. What's going on here? Asked Jim Deer. I found a stray dog in the baby's room, explained Aunt Sarah, and your dog here was right beside him. With that, Lady began to bark and headed up the stairs. Stop her, squealed Aunt Sarah. She'll hurt the baby. Nonsense, Jim Deer replied. She's trying to tell us something. Lady led them all to the dead rat that lay hidden behind the baby's chair in the baby's room. Merciful heavens, exclaimed Aunt Sarah. Good dog, said Jim Deer, giving Lady a hug. You did your job well, girl, just as I knew you would. Ooh, it'd be gross to have a rat in your house. But what about the other dog? Asked Jim Deer. He was brave too. Let's see if we can stop the dog catcher before he gets to the pound. Jim Deer and Lady hurried outside. Then they hopped into a taxi and sped off after the dog catcher's wagon. When they finally caught up with the wagon, Jim Deer explained to the dog catcher that Tramp didn't belong in the pound. You really like this tough guy, don't you? Jim Deer asked Lady. Well, why don't you invite him to come and live with us? He added. Lady smiled at Tramp, and then she wagged her tail to let Jim Deer know that she thought this was a splendid idea. Yay, Tramp's gonna have a home. It took some getting used to, but Tramp grew to love being part of the family. Jim Deer and Darling grew to love him too. It wasn't long before he had a collar and a name tag of his own. When Christmas Eve rolled around again, Lady and her Tramp had some very special presents under the tree. Not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 adorable puppies of their own. I think I read that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 puppies. The end. That's one of my favorites from when I was a kid. I love that movie. A lot of you probably have Disney Plus and you can watch that movie. Should watch it today on this rainy day. Hey, David! David! Do you want to come sign out? He left milk on his chair. And what are you doing down there?
Jesse and David.
Signing out.